the 50-yard mark. See if we can get target, hits on target at 50 yards. If I remember correctly, it's shooting left. And that was just right. There we go. Point of aim, point of impact, 50 yards. He's using critical defense, 95 grain FTX. Hey everybody, what's going on? Thanks for swinging by. I sure do appreciate it. If this is your first time with the channel, my name is Mark.
Oh, hi Mark.
Welcome to Fit and Fire. Let's get into this video. This time we're going to be talking about the Makarov pistol, and that is a pistol that I've wanted in my collection for quite a long time. It is kind of considered the quote-unquote AK of the pistol world, I suppose, but every time I hear that I laugh. Essentially, I have had plenty of opportunities to purchase one and have decided not to do it time and time again because it wasn't the right one. I'll talk about the reasons why, but essentially I finally was able to trade with a friend of mine for the exact one that I wanted. We'll talk about the reasons why and go from there. But before we get into that, I need to say a huge thank you to Clear Ballistics. Kind of odd, but in a roundabout way, they're supporting this video. They don't even realize they are. They sent me a 10% ballistics gel in the mail to test a different caliber, and I was out at the range. I thought, well, let's go ahead and test the Mac while I'm at it. And so with that being said, I need to say a thank you to them for not only sponsoring the other video, but this one too. So there you guys have it. The other thing real quick is for you guys, what is the Milsurp firearm that you have yet to buy? For me, this is one of them. It's definitely going to be in my top 5 of firearms that I wanted in my collection. But essentially, this is one that I had an opportunity to purchase back in 2021. And at the time, $600 was like, oh, man, that's a little too much for me to spend. But it also came with all of the armor's paperwork and that type of stuff. And I decided to hold off, and I kicked myself ever since. But now we have this particular example. This is going to be a East German Makarov, and as I mentioned, this was traded for to get into my collection. Now, random Thursday phone call from a buddy of mine. He was like, hey, what do you know about Makarovs? And I was like, I know a little bit, not a lot, but I know a little bit. And he's like, well, I just traded a rifle for 2 East German Makarovs. Do you think I did a good job on the trade? And I was like, well, how much do you think that the rifle was that you were trading? He was like, it's about $1,000. But I got these 2 East Germans, and I just want to make sure that I didn't get took. And I was like, based off of what East Germans go for, you did good. You did good. So he said, well, I'm going to keep one and let the other one go. And I said, please don't. Just give it to me. So we did some chatting, and I ended up trading him a Smith & Wesson Model 19-5 pre-lock revolver. And that was the revolver that I carried out on my property in Wyoming for bear and snake defense. And, you know, I thought, man, that revolver is nice and all, but I can replace that easier than I can find a good deal on a Makarov. So I was like, let's do it. Not only did this come as you see it right here, but it also came with 2 holsters. We'll talk about that here in just a second. And then I had a holster made up for this for just kind of everyday carry should I want to dress up and, you know, carry something a little bit more sophisticated than Glock 19 or something. So there you have it. But let's talk about the development of the Makarov pistol, because it's actually fairly interesting. It was developed in 1948 by Nikolai Makarov. And at that time, the Russians were looking for an opportunity to change things around, kind of modernize or update the firearms in their inventory for the Red Army. To talk about that, we kind of have to go all the way back to the beginning of the 20th century and look at what the Russians were using at that time, and that was the 1895 Nagant pistol or revolver. It was chambered in 7.62 Nagant, and that was kind of very interesting revolver and caliber choice for them, but it got them through the First World War. It served them during the Bolshevik Revolution and into World War II, actually. However, in the 1930s, the Russians saw an opportunity for them to develop a pistol that would also be able to be chambered in the same caliber as their submachine guns, so entered the TT-33 Tokarev. That was chambered in 7.62 by 25 millimeter, and that was something that was really helpful for the Soviet Army at that time, especially. Didn't have a lot of money to spend, didn't have a lot of manpower as well, and they ended up changing all of that with World War II. But the ability to have a pistol and submachine gun chambered in the same caliber made things a lot easier for them as well. The 7.62 by 25 millimeter was pretty stout in a handgun, but worked very well in a shoulder-fired firearm. Get into the late 1940s after World War II, and they realized, the Soviet Army that is, that they needed to update things. So out went the Mosin Nagant, in came the SKS. They also decided that they wanted to switch over their submachine guns to the AK-47, which I thought was very interesting as well. With both the SKS and the AK-47 ushering out the old rifle and SMG, they now realized that they could pick whatever caliber they wanted for their new pistol, and so they went with the Makarov. Now, the 9x18 round is also kind of interesting in the fact that the Soviets basically stole that from the Germans in their 9mm Ultra that eventually became the 9mm Police. They liked the design of it. They liked that it was a little bit smaller than what the West was using. It wasn't 9mm Luger, so the West couldn't use it. It was pretty proprietary and all of that type of stuff. So that's one of the reasons why this was chambered in it as well. So the great thing about the Makarov is that it has a lot of pluses. Number one is ease of manufacture. There's only 25 parts in the Makarov pistol compared to 35 parts of the Tokarev and something like 85 parts of the 1911. So very easy to produce. It's easy to maintain in the field. Field stripping this is super easy. We'll show that here in just a little bit. It was easy to train soldiers on, and it was easy to shoot. So everything about this in its development was very appealing to the Red Army.
А вот что вспоминает о ней маршал Советского Союза Георгий Константинович Жуков.
Почему? Разгромом немецких войск под Москвой, успешными действиями в районе Тихвина и Ростова врагу нанесено большое поражение.
Now, one of the downsides to this is capacity. This is only going to be a 8-round magazine, so 8+1. And a lot of people would feel that the 9x18 is a little underpowered, and I can understand why. But also, the Soviets wanted to make sure that the Western 9mm Luger round couldn't be used in this either, so there is that. One of the other things that is very interesting about this pistol is that stylistically it looks almost identical to the Walther PPK. You have a fixed-barreled blowback design, you have a slide-mounted safety lever / decocker. I mean, just the lines of it just almost mirrors that of the PPK. So a lot of people have to wonder, did they steal Germany's homework again? And a lot of people would say, yeah, probably they did. So with that being said, as of today, this looks very sleek, very interesting, and why I will probably carry this from time to time on very special occasions, whether going to a wedding or whatever the case may be, I'll have something that is a little bit more sophisticated. Now the question would be, why did I go with an East German instead of like a Bulgarian or some other comm block country? And the answer to that is, I don't know. To be honest with you, I had an opportunity to get one back in 2021 for about $600, and I decided to pass on it, but that one just kind of really stuck with me and kind of chewed away at my brain. I was like, I gotta find one. Again, had the opportunity to trade for this, so I went ahead and took that opportunity. Germany is a interesting place to me. I took 2 years of German in high school, so I'm fairly biased towards Germany. Probably not now, but I don't think I would ever want to live there as it stands. But having something that I know is going to be quality manufactured, especially since this is from 1961. The East Germans built these from 1959 to 1965. So with this being a 61, obviously they've worked out a lot of bugs by then. You know, German manufacturing is probably some of the best in the world, even still today. So that's probably another reason why I really wanted an East German one. So there is that. This did come with 2 holsters, the standard hip holster, which is just a leather holster that was very similar to those of the World War II bringbacks for the PPK. And it also came with a really cool vintage shoulder holster as well. So I'll show a picture of what it looks like when you have it on correct, but needless to say, having both of those holsters for this, I thought was pretty cool. Now let's talk about my experience out at the range so far. Put about, we'll call it 100 rounds through this, and it chewed up everything that I put through it. I mean, I had some Wolf 9x18, and then I shot, 25 rounds of Hornady Critical Defense, and found that it was fun to shoot, easy to shoot, fairly accurate for a pistol that has such low sights, and that's one of the downsides to this, is how low these sights are. And then even at range with my defensive ammunition, the critical defense, I was able to put 1 of 2 rounds on target at 25 yards, or excuse me, at 50 yards. It's the 50-yard mark. Let's see if we can get target, hits on target at 50 yards. If I remember correctly, it's shooting left. And that was just right. There we go. Point of aim, point of impact, 50 yards. Using critical defense, 95 grain FTX. So that was pretty nice to see as well. Now, as far as the ballistics on this goes, again, 9x18 is a little underpowered, I would say. And the 10% gel that I got from Clear Ballistics, again, thank you to them. Penetration on that was 10 inches. And I shot 2 rounds. I was able to recover both of those rounds, perfectly expanded. So I showed those to my daughter, and she was like, oh, that's so cool, I want to keep one. So she has a lead flower of her own. But a lot of people will say, well, 10 inches in a 10% gel, that is probably going to be a little underpowered. And I would agree with you. But I also understand that if I'm carrying this, I'm probably carrying it in a situation that I don't expect to get into trouble. Should I be in a situation like that, I will have something different. But again, special occasions and all that jazz. One of the other things that I did was I had a leather holster made by a local guy to me. This is Rose Leatherworks, and I felt that this was a pretty nice addition. I really like the brown leather that he did with this, and just really made it look nice. He canted the belt clip here just over to the side a little bit, so that forces this in and allows it to hug your body just a little bit more as well. So really nice leather holster. If you guys are interested in this or any other details, I'm going to have tons of information down in the pinned comment, so definitely check that out as well. So there you have it. 100% reliable on this. I didn't have any issues shooting the about 100 rounds that I put through it, and just had a really fun time at the range. About the only other thing that I will say about this is I will have to adjust my grip, because as it stands, my thumb kind of hangs around up here on the lever, the safety lever, and that ends up reciprocating into my thumb. A little uncomfortable to shoot. Just one of those things I'm going to have to realize that if I do shoot this, I'm going to have to tuck that thumb in tight. Cool pistol. Glad it's in my inventory, and yeah, like I said, I would love to hear what you guys have to say as far as the Makarov or what other Milsurp that you guys are looking for to add to your collection. Sound off in the comment section down below. With that being said, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Thank you so very much for swinging by and checking things out. If you haven't already checked out the Live, Laugh, Larp podcast, I encourage you guys to do that. That information is in the pinned comment as well as some really cool stuff. So check that out. As always, we're going to go ahead and get out of here. Here comes a high five. Freedom through strength. Catch you guys later. Bye, y'all.